The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. in Huntsville, Alabama on WVNN. And then from 10 to 11, the fastest hour in radio on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham. With me, as always, Mecca Music. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people. You know, we've got a great one for you today. Jeff Poore will be with us from 1819 News. We'll talk about a lot of things. And I have a party shot about how Mike Rogers was right. Yes, the congressman from the 3rd Congressional District was right. And we'll talk about that here in just a bit. But for right now, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. So Republicans can't govern? Is that we're just going to decide that Republicans can't govern? They just aren't capable of governing given the opportunity. That should play very well for them in 2024, because I just can't imagine anybody would put that in a campaign ad targeting every Republican running from office, all the way from president down to dog catcher. And those Republican dog catchers are really, really good at their job. So let's talk a little bit about this. Mecca, a total mess for the Republican Party. On that, I think we generally agree. Jim Jordan can't get the votes. Steve Scalise can't get the votes.
Right.
They can get the votes to destroy Kevin McCarthy, but they can't do anything after that. Huge loss for Matt Gaetz. They're also saying, oh, yeah, well, maybe we'll just give power to the interim speaker, which, again, much like government shutdowns, just kills all momentum and motivation to actually do anything like this. We just make a speaker that is a different speaker.
Exactly. And I would say we do agree this is not a good look for the GOP. This is not a good look going into the future elections, as in, yes, we should govern, we should be in charge. It is, the question is it a total mess? Yes, I would say it's a mess. It's like the worst possible kind of let's make a deal scenario that you can imagine what's going on right now. And it can't get done.
Yeah, they had 8 people who voted on the side of Democrats to remove Kevin McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So they did it. You know, they were able to get it done. They got him removed, and that was the end of him. After that, it has all been downhill for those groups. It has been downhill for McCarthy and his team. All 3 parts of the GOP, the conservatives, the moderates, the more liberal members, all taking L's constantly, nobody winning anything, and they're doing it at a time where there are a ton of other things going on in the world.
A few things. A few things, y'all.
And on top of that, you got a government shutdown around the corner. You got all this stuff happening, and during the holidays, I can't believe we're looking at that. Obviously, that's what will be happening. So GOP can't govern. That's going to be the message moving forward. And for once, it's not just a narrative spun.
They're the ones putting this story out there and forward.
So enjoy running against that. All right, let's talk a little bit about Israel here. This has become a real issue. Kind of shocking to me personally that there are so many people openly in this country talking about how maybe Hamas is the good guy. You know, the ones that chopped the heads off people and did all sorts of terrible things we could get into if we wanted to, but we're not going to. D.C., although it seems divided in a way, you have very loud people saying things, and I think a majority, and this is a poll that came out this week, 96% of Americans have sympathy for Israel on this. But what are we seeing? College campuses, streets. We are seeing people in power outside the Capitol, seeing people rush the Capitol, not yesterday, but earlier this week. Some are saying, it's an insurrection. It's not an insurrection. Stop that. That's just silly nonsense. The thing in January 6th wasn't an insurrection either. But this is definitely not an insurrection. Is D.C. as divided as it seems on this, or are we just looking through like some weird prism?
So I was going to ask you about this question, and we didn't get a chance, because I would say no. I would say, but I would agree with you that it is a small but loud contingent making this noise, and it is going to get coverage because so many people are therefore outraged about it, and it kind of feeds itself. I think across the board, like you said, the poll and our leaders support Israel.
I mean, like I said, 96% have sympathy. Mm-hmm. They polled, you know, and it broke down party lines sometimes a little most ways. Who do you side with more in this Palestinian, Israeli conflict? The Israelis obviously have the lead, but it's not as big as you would think it is. But that's a different matter as to their plight versus what's happened. Mm-hmm. And what I find most interesting about this is when you have these people saying these outrageous things, they're getting all this attention. People are responding to it. Guys like John Fetterman come out. And John Fetterman's like, I don't understand how you could do this. And I was like, do I have a head injury? Is he making the most sense about anyone in the Democratic Party? Because I'm serious. Look at what he said. And he's talking about his, but you have guys like Hakeem Jeffries sounding like Kevin McCarthy from a couple of years ago. What tweets? I didn't see any tweets. There's some tweets going on. I don't understand this. And you just see these people that it's weird that you can't say, this is really stupid and these people shouldn't be saying this. They're afraid to criticize their own people. And we saw that again from Republicans.
No,
it's a flip.
I would say there's a Democratic divide, definitely. But then let's look at, I mean, this is hardline Republicans and Biden both agree, support Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of coming together on this issue as well.
And then you have Biden occasionally saying things like, Hamas needs to shoot better. And I'm like, that is not the issue. So, and a big L, by the way, for the national mainstream media, international mainstream media on that hospital attack. That never actually happened. All right, big L for them. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about one of my favorite guys in Alabama politics, Young Boozer. That was how his political ad sounded when he ran last time for treasurer. And I will tell you this right now, the guy is right. The Birmingham-Southern situation is very interesting. There was a law passed by the legislature, and in that law, he is empowered to reject or approve a $30 million loan. And what has happened here is, one, Birmingham-Southern, they're a distressed asset, right? We get that. They're already leveraged a lot of ways, and banks already have some of that stuff that they offered up on their books, covering their loans. And there's some argument that maybe they inflated their assets a little bit. Now, who does that sound like? Is there another issue where there might be somebody inflating their assets and might be sitting in a courtroom today or last week dealing with this? Do they have a case?
Okay. They have a case, but just like you pointed out,
make me the judge, and they don't. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the legislature gave him apparently these powers, and he's like, no, this isn't good. We're not going to do it.
We're not going to make a bad loan.
I mean, exactly. But they do have a case because the legislature did say this is how the process that we want them to have this money and how we're going to go through it. So I'm interested to see what the court can or will do about it, or does the legislature come back and find kind of a different mechanism to do this?
Now, I think the fact that they put all these parameters in here showed that a lot of them didn't want to do it. That's number one. Kay Ivey originally said, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so did Republicans, and then they did it. So that all happened. And then, like I said, Boozer didn't want to do this. He went to the Attorney General and said, is this even allowed? And said, no, I don't want to do this. Because, look, this was written. And there might be some constitutionality about this. This was written for one entity. I know they're trying to say, oh, no, but come on. It was written for one entity.
It was.
And the parameters were not narrow enough to make it to where it was a slam dunk. Birmingham-Southern might have a case, but I'll tell you what. If what we've heard so far about the assets and all these other things being leveraged with Service First Bank and all these other things, there's a huge problem here. And that college also below enrollment levels of where they said they were going to be and what they put on their forms, there's a lot of problems here.
Well, I mean, and even if the legislature decides to take it up and then it was approved, just the fact that people are now looking at it closer because of Boozer's actions, that's going to make it a lot tougher to get done. And he does have the best name in politics.
I think a lot of politicians are looking back at Montgomery going, I knew it. I knew it. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about parents. And what do I love most about parents? Potentially putting them in jail. That's what I like most about parents. And the mayor of the city of Birmingham, who I've been pretty critical about over the last couple of weeks because some of the things he did, actually did the right thing here, but for the wrong reason. Now, the context of all of this, because I know Mecca is going to ask me, is this. There is the Alabama Literacy Act. It is in place. It is going into effect this year. If you cannot read at third grade level, you will stay in third grade. That's going to happen. Well, in Birmingham, they have some serious issues. Half of their third graders are considered truant, meaning they have a ton of unexcused absences. And then what that's going to do is cause all these kids not to be reading at grade level, which means they're not going to move on to fourth grade, which means there's going to be a glut of failing third graders in third grade next year and a small number of fourth graders across the entire district, causing them to have to move teachers, change the way they do a lot of different stuff. And Wolfen's trying to end that. Now, this is my take on it. What have you been doing before this? Now all of a sudden there's accountability coming and you want to change the game completely? They've had years to figure this out, and now months before, Woodfin's like, oh, Guess we should do something about it. Lock him up.
No,
so there we go.
No, I think you should be thrilled with this. This is right up your alley.
Yeah.
You know, you get to lock people up. You get
Put 'em
to
in
be
jail.
mad at parents.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all your favorite
Woodfin
topics.
as well. I can call him a fraud even though he's doing something good. Yeah.
You should be happy with Woodfin
I am.
and what he's doing. And also, you talked about the Alabama Literacy Act. Remember, this was delayed due to the pandemic.
They've had all sorts of time
yeah.
to deal with this. And if they didn't see this coming a million miles away, it's their own fault. And I'm telling you this right now. In the next legislative session, right before this thing goes into place, they are going to boo-hoo, bellyache, bitch, and complain. They're going to do all this stuff trying to make them undo it.
Listen,
they're going to try their best to make it undo it. And I'm telling you this, lock them up. That's the right answer. I mean, I'm serious here. I know you're laughing, but I'm serious. Everyone knew that this was coming.
Well, and I mean, third graders cannot, I mean, the parents do need to be responsible.
Do you know how you
A third
change the
grader-
education system? Accountability.
Accountability.
But hold on.
Lock them up.
Not accountability for the students. Accountability for the teachers, for the
Yeah.
school systems, for the parents. When that accountability, and look how scared they are of accountability. It is coming around the corner, and Woodfin sounds like he's seen a ghost. I mean, it is, and he knows it's coming, and it is going to hit Birmingham and all these other cities. It's going to hit every city in the entire state of Alabama. Every school district in the state of Alabama is going to get hit like a train by this thing, and I cannot wait. My kid goes to private school. All right.
Exactly.
We'll come back. We'll talk with Jeff Poor from 1819 News. Stay tuned.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improved range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Music. And our guest this week from FM Talk 106.5 down in Mobile, Jeff Poor. He is a talk show host. I put that guy on the air, by the way. I made that guy. Breitbart, Lanyap, and 1819 News. He is here with us. Jeff, I want to talk about the thing we were just talking about here on the program. We were having a discussion about Mayor Woodfin responding to the looming Alabama Literacy Act by saying, hey, start getting your kids in school or we're going to start putting parents in jail. I don't think he's going to actually do any of that. But could we see more of this, Jeff, from other mayors and leaders around the state who are starting to look and see that half their kids can't read at third grade level, meaning half are going to stay back, which is going to cause chaos across every school in the state?
I don't see how you could criminalize like parenting, bad parenting. I mean, maybe if it's child neglect, maybe you can make a case, but jail time for what? I mean, wouldn't there have to be like a law passed by the legislature or something to make it a law? I don't see that going anywhere. I see it being challenged, by like all the kooky left-wing storefronts around the state or wherever in the country. So as a tactic, I don't think it's a smart idea. It becomes kind of a boy who cried wolf tactic, right? And people become more complacent.
Well, I think that it would be very interesting to see if they did actually try to do this and maybe just scare the parents there. And sounds like a project for Dale Jackson next year in the legislature because maybe there does need to be a law. Mecca?
Thank you, Dale. Jeff, I have a question about what's going to be the impact of this Literacy Act actually going into effect? What do you think is going to happen besides, as Dale has pointed out, a lot of third graders?
I do think you're already kind of seeing a movement afoot to kind of water down the definition of third grade reading level and what that is, and they're gonna figure out a way to find. It's not going to be perfect for the other side, who's not really big on the whole idea of a mechanism, accountability mechanism. But they're going to water it down. It's not going to be as bad. It's still going to have some teeth. It's still going to be kind of shocking to a lot of us, but it won't probably be as shocking as had initially been expected.
So you think that in the next legislative session, butting right up to the end of the year, coming in right in that last semester of the year, you think the legislature will water it down even further?
They will. Terry Collins, the chairwoman of the House Education Policy Committee, has said as much. They're going to do that. I say water down, but they would tell me, well, we're just in line with what the other states are defining as a third grade reading level.
Accountability is hard. Talking about it's easy. Implementing it seems to be a lot harder. Let's talk about a young boozer here for a second. Birmingham-Southern, $30 million. A lot of people seem to be upset with him. They're saying they're going to sue him. They already have. There's a lot going on here. Jeff, the legislature said, let's give $30 million to this school and try to save it. And young boozer goes, no, I don't think so. We're not going to do that. It's a little more complicated than that. But what's going to be the impact of this? Is this lawsuit going to get anywhere?
No, I was listening to Sam Gavan on your show. I mean, it's the same situation as the Baldwin County Bridge Company, right? So no, I don't think so. I don't think this lawsuit's going to go anywhere. There'll be political pressure applied. If I'm Birmingham-Southern, now I'm talking political pressure. I'm leaning on all these guys once again to come bail me out and get me out of trouble with young boozer. But it's almost as if the fix was in, and they were going to pass this to feel good about it, but they knew the young boozer would be very tough to get it passed.
So, Jeff, you don't think then that there will be any further action by the legislature to try to bail out or support Birmingham-Southern?
They may try. Jabba Wagner, Roger Smitherman, even Wandel and Gavan may try. I don't see it. I think they did all they could do at this point.
Is there any saving the school without this?
Maybe the private community or investment from the community comes in or something like that might save. It would be a shell of what it once was. This is like a product of that higher education bubble and all these capital investments they made. And this is like the very beginning of it, it seems like.
Yeah, maybe we'll see more of this. And I think if we see that, you will see more tuition hikes and things like that as well. Let's move to Washington, D.C. You've covered them there in Washington, D.C. for a long time. This is a huge loss, not only for Republicans, but for the Matt Gaetz wing of the Republican Party. They wanted McCarthy out. They were successful. And like the dog that chased the car, they eventually caught it and didn't know what to do with it. So what happens here next for speakers of the House? Not Jordan, not McCarthy, not Scalise. Who's next?
So McHenry will be the temporary speaker, I think, until January. Then January, I think Jim Jordan has a chance. But let's consider what could happen between now and the first of the year. They're going to pass a continuing resolution that gets them to the end of Congress. All of these hard bills that would never, ever see the light of day on the floor with Jim Jordan are going to get done between now and the first of the year. And once they get those passed to get through the next election, they will go back to the well and they will try to do this again with the speaker, and I predict Jim Jordan will be speaker eventually.
Wow.
Well, now, Jeff, tell me then, do you think, though, that this process, this long, drawn-out process that looks, arguably like a mess, and we talked about it, is a bad look for the GOP?
Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but who the people that it's a bad look to, like who's paying attention? Is this something the average everyday voter that will vote in 2024 even will understand or remember?
That's a really good point. Like, people that listen to my show or watch this, they're paying attention every single day. The average person's worried about the cost of eggs. I think that's basically the gist of it there. I think it's a pretty interesting point. But I think you could run an ad that says the GOP can't govern. I think you can make that point, put that in an ad, and I think that's a catch-all.
Let me say this real quick. I think the Democrats are going to get their turn. When they're back in power, I think they're going to have the same problems. If the margins are as thin as they are, right, left, Republican, Democrat, it is not that far from the same thing happening to the Democrats. So they would have to be real careful before they start casting those stones.
And maybe that's true, but 2024 is right around the corner here, and this could be a real issue there. Okay, so let's talk about Israel as well there in Washington, D.C. Tommy Tuberville was on my radio show this week, and I asked him specifically, are you saying World War III is right around the corner? And he was very bleak about this. And I thought it was pretty interesting to see. You're hearing some of this talk from people. Is America prepared for this? Or are we prepared to go that route, boots on the ground in Israel?
I don't know. I mean, we may be prepared to do that. Would we? I think if there's like a World War III scenario, does not necessarily mean the United States is involved right away. So we're due. Like every 100 years or so, there's a big war. We've been doing pretty well as on the globe here without a major global conflict. But they happen. They happen throughout human history, and we haven't had one in some time. So I kind of wonder, are we due?
My dad used to say that to me. Like, honestly, like that exact thing. Jeff Moore sounds like my dad, the Vietnam veteran. He's like, we thought that was going to be it, but it wasn't. No, go ahead.
Jeff, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this situation. Let's say that it does escalate. There is a potential for the United States to be involved. We had been talking about earlier in the show kind of maybe a divide in D.C. about support for Israel versus, support for Palestine, Hamas, and things like that. Do you think that would widen the divide?
No, I don't know. Everything's so baked in, and we are living under this conventional wisdom that it is really risky politically to go the wrong way and not support Israel. You really got to put yourself out on a limb and be a Rashida Tlaib type who has a different constituency, a different fundraising mechanism. So I don't know. I think anything that could bring more people together.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Let's move back to the state of Alabama. The Stephen Perkins situation in Decatur is one that has gotten a lot of eyes. There's been other shootings around the state as well where the question is, hey, where's the body cam footage? Where's the body cam footage? I've watched as the city of Decatur has put themselves in a situation where I think the city should actually be disenfranchised, moved completely, worked into the county, do away with the city. They are incapable of governing. Speaking of terrible leaders there, I know Mecca's a little shocked by what I'm saying here, but I absolutely mean it. Listen to what the mayor says. Listen to what the city council says. They are incapable of doing anything with this. They are paralyzed. And one of the reasons is I don't think we have a clear enough body cam law. We need to tighten this up where we say, okay, if there is a police shooting, you're going to get a body cam when this happens. Boom, 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 boom. Investigation closed or whatever. We need a law that takes out the ambiguity here because they've allowed protesters who may be right, okay? But it's ranged from they went in to murder this guy to it's a good shoot. Those are the ranges where we're at, and we have completely lost control there. Should the legislature get together and pass a hard and fast body cam law that says this gets released when these criteria are met? It's too open-ended. That's my opinion. What do you think?
They probably should, but they won't. The municipalities have too much sway. The counties have too much sway. We're such a litigious society that having, just free access, free reign to body camera footage would, I think, open the door. They're very, very, gun shy about that. Or they're very scared of being sued. and being on the hook for this, whatever the liabilities would be. I think it's a heavy lift. Should they do it? Yes, but the powers that be, the people who lobby inside the halls of the State House, will try to stop it.
Well, I'll tell you, the individual cities that are having to, the municipalities dealing with this, because it's so open-ended, they get to make the decisions, and then that puts all the pressure on them. And of course, they don't want to release this stuff because they know either A, it's going to show something very terrible, which it's going to do regardless, and they're afraid by what the consequences are going to be. And sometimes we see it released right away when it exonerates police officers, and then when they wait, sometimes it still exonerates them, but sometimes it shows something terrible. And there's just such a gulf here.
Aaliyah's in charge of the investigation as well, though.
Right. Aaliyah's in charge, but could they still release it while they're doing the investigation? We've seen it elsewhere. I mean, it's just because there's no hard and fast, it leaves a giant window, which just makes people mad. And now you have a city that is, I'm telling you, their government is paralyzed by this.
If you believe in justice and, trials and everybody having a fair hearing in the court of law, do you taint the jury pool by releasing this kind of thing early? I mean, I don't. These are all like constitutional questions we have to consider here. Do you put this out there, taint the jury pool before you even have some context added to it?
Oh no, I'd be fine on the other side, Jeff, if they said no, not until the case is fully adjudicated. I'd be completely fine with that too.
Settle.
Yeah, I just don't think it should be up to Billy Jackson on the Decatur City Council to make that call. I'm sorry, I just don't. He's out there calling.
Fair enough, but I mean, these are the people they elected Decatur, and this is what you get. So that's how it is.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jeff. Thank you very much. Jeff Bohr, FM Talk 106.5 down in Mobile. Mecca Music is on her way out. Show gets much better, I promise you that. It's Alabama Politics this week.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. We've got a great parting shot for you coming up here in just a quick second. We'll talk a little bit about Mike Rogers and how right he was going back numerous months. But first, let me tell you about my friends over there at YellowhammerNews.com. I'm actually them. I work over there. YellowhammerNews.com. Get the 7 things you should be talking about today delivered to your email inbox every single day, Monday through Friday. And I will tell you, you're going to get all the news you love to hear about. YellowhammerNews.com. Go sign up for my email blast. Plus, you can watch my videos and a bunch of other stuff there as well. For right now, though, let's go ahead and get to that party shot. My party shot this week is directed at all the people that wanted to primary Mike Rogers, the congressman from the 3rd Congressional District here, those who talked about removing him from the ballot as a Republican recently as last week, and those who don't really understand how right this guy was from the very beginning. When he went down and tried to choke out Matt Gaetz, he was right. And now Matt Gaetz has thrown the entire Republican caucus into disarray. And Mike Rogers said, okay, I'll play ball with you guys. I want to stay the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. I'll vote for Jim Jordan. And they still couldn't get the votes. And this is one of the guys who worked hard to keep this whole thing together, and it all fell apart. And if you listen to the online commentators and the conservative media, they'll tell you that he's a traitor and a rhino. They'll spell rhino wrong, don't get me wrong, but they will call him a rhino, and they will tell you that he's the bad guy here. He's not. Mike Rogers was right about all of this. Playing this stupid game gets you absolutely nowhere. And hopefully by the end of this, it empowers people like Mike Rogers to actually be listened to because of how stupid this decision-making process was and how dumb the situation Republicans find themselves in right now. Mike Rogers was right, period. That's the end of the conversation. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching and listening to Alabama Politics This Week. We'll be back next week.